Once upon a time, upon a Christmas Eve, old Ebby Scrooge sat busy in her counting house.
A Merry Christmas, Auntie!
It was the voice of Scrooge's niece.
Bah, humbug! Christmas a humbug, Auntie. You don't mean that, am I sure? I do. Out upon Merry Christmas. If I had my will, every idiot who goes on about with Merry Christmas on their lips should be boiled with their own pudding. They should. Auntie! Niece, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine. Keep it! But you don't keep it! Let me leave it alone then. Much good may it do you. Much good has it ever done you. I have always thought of Christmas as a good time, a kind, forgiving, charitable, pleasant time. And therefore, Auntie, though I has never put a scrap of gold or silver in my pocket, I believe that it has done me good, and I will do me good. And I say, God bless it. Good afternoon. I'll keep my Christmas humor to the last. So a Merry Christmas, Auntie. Good afternoon. And a Happy New Year. Good afternoon.
Her niece left the room without an angry word, but the clerk, in letting Scrooge's niece out, had let two others in.
At this festive season of the year, Miss Scrooge, we should make some slight provision for the poor and destitute, who suffer greatly at this present time.
A few of us are endeavoring to raise a fund to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. What shall I put you down for? Nothing. You wish to be anonymous? I wish to be left alone. Since you asked me what I wish, people, this is my answer. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I help to support the prisons and the workhouses. They cost enough, and those who are badly off must go there. Many can't go there. Many would rather die. If they would rather die, they'd better do it.
The hour of shutting up the counting house had arrived. Scrooge took her melancholy dinner in her usual melancholy tavern and went straight home to bed. As she threw her head back in bed and glanced upon the wall, with great astonishment, a strange dread came over her. This was succeeded by a clanking noise, deep down below, as if some person were dragging a heavy chain over the casks in the wine merchant's cellar. Then she heard the noise much louder on the floors below, then coming up the stairs, then coming straight at her door. It came through the door, and a spectre passed into the room before her eyes.
What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Who were you then?
In life, I was your partner, Jay Lamali.
The ghost sat down on the opposite side of the fireplace in the chair, as if she were quite used to it.
You don't believe in me.
I don't.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. You may be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a crumb of cheese, a fragrant of an underdone potato. There is more of gravy of a grave, whatever you are.
The spirit raised a frightful cry.
Why do you trouble me? Why do spirits walk the earth? And why do they come to me?
It is required of every person that the spirit within them should walk among their fellow people and travel far wide. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, it is commanded to do so after death. I cannot rest. I cannot stay. I cannot linger anywhere. My spirit never walked beyond our counting house. Mark me, in life, my spirit never roved beyond our money-changing hall and weary journeys
family's life before me.
Scrooge was very much dismayed to hear the spectre going on at this rate and began to shake exceedingly.
I'm here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance of hope escaping my fate. You'll be haunted by 3 spirits. Expect the first tomorrow night when the bell tolls 1. Expect the second one the next night at the same hour. The third one upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more.
Scrooge tried to say humbug, but stopped at the first syllable. And being from the emotion she had undergone, or the fatigues of the day, or her glimpse of the invisible world, or the conversation of the ghost, or the lateness of the hour, she went straight to bed and fell asleep on the instant. When Scrooge awoke, the church clock tolled a deep, dull, hollow, melancholy 1. Light flashed up in the room upon the instant, and the curtains of her bed were drawn aside by a strange figure like a child.
Are you the spirit man whose coming was foretold to me?
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
As the words were spoken, they passed through the wall. They were standing in a busy street. It was made plain enough by the dressing of the shops that here, too, it was Christmas time. The ghost stopped at a certain warehouse door and asked Scrooge if she knew it.
Know it? I apprenticed here.
They went in. In the room, the sight of a familiar face made Scrooge cry in excitement.
Why, it's old Fezziwig. Bless his heart. It's Fezziwig alive again.
Yo-ho there, Abby. Oh, my friends, no more work tonight. It's Christmas Eve. Let's have the shutters up before anyone can say Jack Robinson. Clear away, friends. Let's have lots of room here. Soon, music filled the room, and there was a great dance and merriment all around. When the clock struck 11, this ball broke up, and Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig shook hands with every person as they went out, wishing them a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
A small matter. To make the silly fox so full of gratitude, he has spent but a few pounds of your money, 3 or 4 perhaps. Is that so much he deserves this praise?
It isn't that, Spirit. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service a pleasure or a toil. Say that his power lies in words and looks, in things impossible to add and count him up. What then? The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost a fortune. Spirit, remove me from this place. Haunt me no longer.
As she struggled with the spirit, she was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by an irresistible drowsiness. And further, being in her own bedroom, she barely had time to reel to bed before she sank into a heavy, deep sleep. Scrooge awoke in her bedroom, heaped upon the floor to form a kind of throne, with turkeys, geese, great joints of meat, pigs, long wreaths of sausages, mince pies, plum puddings, barrels of oysters, red-hot chestnuts, cherry-cheeked apples, juicy oranges, luscious pears, great bowls of punch, and immense 12 cakes. Upon this couch there sat a giant glorious to see, who bore a glowing torch.
Come in, and know me better, girl. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me. You have never seen the like of me before. Touch my robe.
Scrooge did as she was told and held it fast. The room and its contents instantly vanished. Scrooge and the ghost passed on invisible, straight to Scrooge's clerk's, Bob Cratchit's house. Up rose Mrs. Cratchit, busy in the kitchen.
What has ever got your precious father then, and your brother Tiny Tim?
Here comes Father! The 2 Cratchit children cried, and in came Bob, the father of his threadbare clothes, donned up and brushed to look seasonable, and Tiny Tim upon his shoulder. Alas, for Tiny Tim, he bore a little crutch, and his limbs supported by an iron frame.
How did little Tim behave?
As good as gold and better. Somehow he gets thoughtful sitting by himself so much and thinks the strangest things you have ever heard. He told me coming home that he hoped the people saw him in church because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant to them to remember upon Christmas Day who made lame beggars walk and blind men see.
Mrs. Cratchit continued to prepare the dinner table. As everyone sat down, at last the dishes were set on and grace was said. It was succeeded by a breathless pause as Mrs. Cratchit began to carve the meat.
Hurrah!
Now, smiling proudly, Mrs. Cratchit brought in the pudding like a speckled cannonball, so hard and firm, blazing in half and half, bedight with Christmas holly stuck on the top.
Oh, what a wonderful pudding!
And at last, the Cratchit family sat down. They were happy, grateful, pleased with one another, and contented with the time. And when they faded and looked happier yet in the bright sprinklings of the spirit's torch at parting, Scrooge had his eyes upon them, and especially on Tiny Tim, until Scrooge heard the bell strike. Scrooge looked about her for the ghost and saw it no more. She found herself in her own bed, and she remembered the prediction of old Jacob Marley. Lifting up her eyes, beheld a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the grounds toward her.
Ghost of the future! I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. Will you not speak to me?
It gave her no reply. The hand was pointed straight before them.
Lead on, lead on! The night is waning fast, and it is precious time to me. I know. Lead on, spirit.
They scarcely seemed to enter the city, for the city rather seemed to sprung up about them. But there they were in the heart of it, amongst the merchants. The spirit stopped beside one little knot of people and skunks. Observing that, and the hand was pointed to them, Scrooge advanced to listen to their talk.
I don't know much about it either way. I only know he's dead.
When did he die?
Last night, I believe.
What has she done with her money?
I haven't heard company yet. She hasn't left it to me. That's all I know.
The ghost conducted her to poor Bob Cratchit's house, the dwelling she had visited before, and found the mother and children seated around the table. Quiet, very quiet, the noisy little Cratchits were still as statues at the table, while the mother was busily engaged in her work. She laid it upon the table and put her hand to her face.
The colors on my eyes go better now again. It makes them weak by candlelight. I wouldn't show weak eyes to your father when he comes home for the world. It must be near his time.
Past it, rather. But I think he's walked a little slower than he used to the last few evenings, Mother.
I have known him walk with Tiny Chin upon his shoulder, very fast and see, but he was very light to carry, and his father loved him so that it was no trouble. And there was your father at the door.
She hurried out to meet him, and Bob came in. The tea was ready for him, and they all tried who should help him to it most. Bob was very cheerful towards them, and he spoke pleasantly to all the family. He looked at the work upon the table and praised Mrs. Cratchit and the kids.
You went today, then, Robert?
Yes, my dear. I wish you could have gone. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is. But you'll see it often. I promised him that I would walk there on Sunday. My little child, my little child. Spirit? Who are those? The skunk and the girl. Who are they talking about? Who died?
The ghost of Christmas yet to come conveyed her to a dismal, wretched, ruinous churchyard. The spirit stood amongst the graves and pointed down to one. Scrooge crept toward it, trembling as she went. Following the finger, read upon the stone of the neglected grave her own name, Ebby Scrooge.
Am I the dead person they were talking about? No, spirit! Oh, no, spirit! Hear me! I am not the girl I was. I will not be the girl I must have been. Why show me this if I am past all hope? Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life. I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on this stone.
Holding up her hands in one last prayer to have her fate reverse, she saw an alteration in the phantom's hood and dress. Scrooge awoke to see The bedpost was her own. The bed was her own. The room was her own. Best and happiest of all, the time before her was her own to make amends in. She was checked in her transport by the church's ringing out the lustiest peal she had ever heard. Running to the window, she opened it and put out her head. No fog, no mist, no night. Clear, bright, stirring golden day.
Hey, you! What's today?
Cried Scrooge, calling downward to a girl in her Sunday clothes.
What? What's today, my fine fella?
Today? Why, Christmas Day.
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it. Hello, my fine fella.
Hello.
Do you know the Poulters in the next street, but one at the corner?
I sure hope I did.
An intelligent girl, a remarkable girl. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there? Not the little prize turkey, the big one.
What, the one bigger than me?
What a delightful girl. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Yes, my buck.
It's hanging down.
It is? Go and buy it.
Walker!
No, I am in earnest. Go and buy it and tell him to bring it here, that I may give them direction where to take it. Come back with the man and I'll give you a shilling. Come back with him in less than 5 minutes and I'll give you half a crown.
The girl was off like a shot.
I'll send it to Bob Cratchit. He shouldn't know who sent it. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim, maybe even bigger.
Scrooge dressed herself in all her best, at one last shot to go out in the streets. Walking with hands beside her, Scrooge regarded everyone with a delightful smile.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Hello! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, everybody!
Scrooge went to the house of Bob Cratchit and knocked loudly on the door.
Oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry I haven't left for work yet. Bob. Of course you haven't left for work yet. I'm so sick and tired of this. Therefore, I'm going to raise your salary.
Bob trembled.
Merry Christmas, Bob. A Merry Christmas. I will raise your salary to assist your struggling family.
Scrooge was better than her word. She did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, she was like a second mother. She became as a good friend, as good as a master, as good as a girl that's a good old city knew, or any other good old city, town, or borough in the good old world. Some people laughed to see the alteration in her, but her own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for her, and it was always said of her that she knew how to keep Christmas well. May that be truly said of us, and all of us, and so as Tiny Tim observed.
God bless us all, each and every one.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.